Okay, so it looks like it's Hobo's Nutritarian kitchen this morning. This is my kitty Hobo. Come on, Hobo, out the counter. Mwah! Love. All right, we're gonna do some cooking. But he just decided he had to check everything out that I was doing. So today, we plug it in. You've seen this baby before. This is my waffle maker. And I've made waffles for you before. However, we're gonna make different things in the waffle maker today. Make sure my husband got it good and cleaned out last time he used it, because we both use it, and he uses spray. I don't use fat when I cook in it, so I want to make sure that's out of there. There's a little bit of residue left. Okay, so I'm gonna let that heat up for a minute, all right? So what I want to do is show you different things you can do with a waffle maker. And if you don't have a waffle maker, go get one, because it's awesome. It's awesome to have one. If you don't have one, there's other ways you can make these things, of course, and I'm sure you can figure it out. But for today, I'm just going to show you waffle makers. So this is my container of waffle batter that is always in my refrigerator. If you go to waffles on my channel here, you'll see how to make this. The only thing I did different is I added 1/4 cup of cocoa powder to this batch because I wanted something chocolatey. Kitty's down there. And I love chocolate waffles. So dark cocoa powder, not anything else. And I realize it's a processed thing, but here's what happens overnight. It's pretty solid. So all I do in the morning or afternoon or whenever I'm going to eat this is I add a little bit of water to this whole batch and mix it up. And I always keep a really big batch of it so I don't have to make it. And I just keep adding to it. And my first waffle one, I used something called Goodness for a flour. And I'm not using that anymore just because I found things that are better for me. There's nothing wrong with it. Use it. Use what you want. I found other mixes, pancake mixes, waffle mixes. I've tried putting avocados in here. If you mash them up, that works too. If you don't want the banana, or if you want both, do half and half. Don't do a full banana and a full avocado. It's too heavy. And I've also used, which I wanted to do in the first place, was just plain oat flour instead of a pancake or waffle mix, because I know it's more compliant. There's nothing in it but oats ground up. You can ground it yourself or go buy it. And then if you use that, maybe a little bit of baking powder if you want them a little more fluffy. I haven't found that I've needed it. So that's up to you. So I mixed that up, and now I'll show you. I've got like this consistency. It's perfect for a waffle, okay? So when that's ready, I'm gonna put that on there. In the meantime, I wanna show you what I've got in my pan here. All right, recently I went to my doctor's. Got all my blood work done. I'm a little distracted because I got to tell you about my shirt too. And we've decided, because my glucose levels are way better than they were. I went down to a 6.2, which is really amazing because when I started as a diabetic 5 years ago, I was over 9 on my A1C. So if you understand those numbers, then you'll know how far I've come. And it's really good, but I want it under 6. So a few more point something down and I'll be a lot happier. So we've decided to cut out the sugars that I've been using because I thought it was okay for me, like maple syrup, honey, date sugar, date syrup, coconut sugar, things like that. I wasn't using any white sugar, and there was a point where I even tried pure cane sugar because I heard that was okay. And on this way of eating, it is for most people. But as a diabetic, I'm going to try to cut them out, so say a big prayer, because that's a tough one. So I'm trying to replace it with other things. So today I'm going to try this. This is some cherries that were frozen that I found at the grocery store. Cherries are amazing for you, but they are high in sugar. So instead of the cup they call for a serving, which has like 18 grams of sugar in it, natural sugar we're talking about, I just took 1/4 cup. And I chopped it up small little bits, so it's gonna go over my whole waffle and it's gonna be fine. So that's like, what, 4-ish grams of sugar, but then you take the fiber out of that and then your net carbs is not all that much. So if you do all that, I don't know which word to use for it, but I'm not anal about it, okay, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I know I'm eating good food and it's whole cherries and it's nothing that's been processed. The only ingredient was cherries. Read the ingredients on frozen foods. And then I added some cinnamon, which is another really good heart healthy thing. And about a teaspoon of water to bring it all together. Oh, and then this maple flavored extract. Now I haven't talked to my doctor about extracts yet, but I'm using it. And it's going to add that maple flavor that I'm probably going to be missing from maple syrup. And I'm just going to put it on the stove. And you don't need to cook it, but those berries are frozen, so I'm going to heat it through a little bit. And I think it might like caramelize a little bit on the stove. And I'm going to take this batter, and you know I love to use my ice cream scoop. And I always use 2 kind of heaping ice cream scoops to make my waffle. Put it down, of course wait for your 2 lights, and flip. Look how I've learned to use this waffle maker. If you watch my waffles video, you'll see that I didn't know how to do that a little while ago. So that's done. The rest of that batter goes in the refrigerator, and anytime my husband's in the mood to make waffles for us, he just pulls it out and plops it in there. It's all ready for him because he uses the regular waffle mix. We're working on it. So another thing I wanted to do, while that's all going, remind me I'm cooking all these things, is on my waffle maker. I've seen it done. I've never done it. This is shredded potatoes. And it's a white potato, and that's another thing my doctor and I talked about, is more sweet potatoes, less white potatoes. And I just happen to have these in the freezer. I'm not throwing them out, so I'm going to use them. And I could mix some sweet potato in with this. That would be great. Oh, I'll do that next time. Just shred them up and throw them in there. Now, I didn't shred these. These were in the freezer. Again, freezer section. Read the back of the bag, especially on potatoes, because they add oil and salt. These are just potatoes, no oil or salt. I put them in some paper towel, and I microwaved them for 30 seconds. You don't have to microwave them to cook them in your waffle maker, but it's going to have to get all the water out for you. So I microwave them so I can put them in this paper towel and just squeeze out the water, any excess water. And most of it's in the bowl already. Hold on. Dump out the water. So excess water out. Check. You want a nice crispy potato chip, which is what we're going to make in here. So that's why I want to take the water out. This is what I'm thinking, and you know how that goes. So then I've got let me just reach over here to this station. Boom, boom. This is the no salt added seasoning blend, and it's all just dehydrated vegetables. I put it in almost everything. I'm going to put some in here because I think I want to flavor my potatoes. And I'm also cutting way back on salt. I'm not a big salt eater at all. So it's not really a problem, but my doctor says salt just sucks all the moisture out of you, and when you're diabetic, that's a really bad thing. Oh, I told you to remind me I was cooking. I'm going to put a tiny bit of water in there now that it's boiling hot and try to bring that back to life. Okay, that's ready. So I've got the vegetables in there. I'm going to take some Mrs. Dash, which is, the original one's my favorite. I have several of them. I've tried them all. But the original one's my favorite, and I learned about it, unfortunately, in the hospital when they wouldn't give me any salt. But it's delicious on potatoes, and sweet potatoes as well. So I'm just going to throw some of that in there. I love rosemary. You don't like it? Don't put it. And I'm going to put, what's that? Half a teaspoon. And remember how I say to crush up your dried herbs, because you want to release the oils and the flavor from it. And then I'm going to use some, what do we got here? Garlic powder. Garlic powder, not garlic salt. I love garlic. Whoops, I better really love it because that came out fast. Okay, onion powder. Onion and potatoes, again, marriage made in heaven. Humidity is set into my onion. There we go. And then I'm going to mix that up. Yummy, yummy. You don't have to put any flavor at all. If you think you need salt, go for it. I'm trying to be salt-free. You know, unless it comes in something I don't really have a lot of control over. Sometimes at a restaurant, it's hard to be as in control of what you're eating as at home, although I'm very particular. Ask my waiters and wait staff everywhere. Anthony, JJ, all you guys over at Longhorns, everybody knows me well. And what I'm going to do to them when I walk in the door. So thank you for your patience and your love. Okay, I know you're watching. So I'm going to put that aside. That's going to go on the waffle maker next. The only problem I have here is I only have one waffle maker. And it takes about 7 minutes, I think, for a waffle. I have no idea about everything else. Here's something else I want to try. I got, and these are probably not going to fit. Who cares? I think it's done. Hold on. Needs a fork. Okay, now it might stick. Nope, woohoo! Could have used a little bit more batter, but it's okay. I'm not mad. And I don't use the nonstick spray, so you got to lift it a little and play with it. And then you've got this. This is a chocolate waffle. It's not burnt. It's a chocolate waffle, okay? And then I'm going to take the mixture that was in here. Remember what we put in there? Cherries, some water, some cinnamon, some maple extract. And I'm just going to drizzle it over the top of this. Spread it out a bit. And you do whatever else you want with yours from there. And I would even make, whether you're using the chocolate or the vanilla version without the cocoa powder in it, you could chop up some apples and throw them in the pan with a couple of raisins and some water, because that kind of makes a caramelization thing going on. Or blueberries do the same thing. So let's see. I should let it cool a second. Oh yeah, I will let it cool. Let me put this in here. I forgot I was still cooking stuff. Man, I'm just so excited for the food. Now this may be the right amount. It may be too much. I don't know. I've never done this before, and I'm hoping and praying it comes out and it works. Squish it, flip it. Let's see what happens. Good thing I use plastic, because I just threw that in the sink. All right, let's try this one. So I know I love the waffle. Let me try this topping. You know, if you love cherries, then use the cherries. If you don't, use all kinds of other things. You know what I've been putting a lot on is the pomegranate seeds. I really like that. Or you get these little cups of mandarin oranges in just their own juice, and that's fine because it's not in syrup. No syrup, not even light syrup. If it's in its own juice, I pour off most of the juice. You could put it aside for something else, because any kind of fruit juice goes right to your bloodstream. So you want to go easy on the juice part, but put the mandarin oranges on there. That's really good. A little bit of the juice. You can actually throw them in the pan and it'll cook down a little bit and it'll be a little more syrupy than watery. I'm going to bite of this one. All right. We know we love that. So, here's another one. We're going to make a sandwich. We're going to attempt, like everything else, a sandwich. These are pretty cool looking, huh? I can't tell you how long I stayed in the store. Oh, that side looks better. Trying to find one of these ready-made, because I'm going to be making my own and I will show you how to do that, but not today. I was in a hurry, so I needed to find something I could actually have in a hurry. This is called 9 grain with chia. And it's tomorrow, not tomorrow, tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to make my own tortillas. Anyway, carb-wise, and if you're counting any of that, I'm not going to count all that, so I don't worry. The first thing I look at on ingredients is fat. And this has 2 grams of fat per wrap. I'm using 2 wraps. And you could use a half if you want. They're only 60 calories each. I don't care. So I don't usually like any fat in there. But because, like I said, I'm not making my own, I'm grabbing it. They also have 7 grams of fiber minus the 12 carbs. So there's only 5 net carbs, 1 gram of sugar or less, and 5 grams of protein if you care about all that. What I was looking at was the ingredients. It's water, oat fiber, wheat flour, and gluten, if you're gluten-free. I don't care, I'm not gluten-free. Soy fiber, I love fiber. 9 grain flour with hard red wheat, soft white wheat, barley, rye, oats, corn grits, millet, buckwheat, flaxseed. I mean, good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff in here that's gonna far outweigh the little tiny bit of oil they put in here. And I don't want oil at all. So I probably won't buy them again once I start making my own and finding a way to store them so I don't have to make them fresh every time I want them. So we're gonna make a sandwich. So what else do I have? Find out what you have in the house and go for it. This I actually didn't have in the house. I just went and bought it this morning because I heard about it and I wanted to try it. It's kind of wet in this bag right now, but it's baked tofu. Baked tofu. When you get tofu, try to get non-GMO. It's very important with tofu. So this is baked and they have different flavors. This one is teriyaki, okay? So it's ready to eat. I eat this just raw the way it is now. Ooh, this is saying it's done. I don't believe it. Hang on. Okay, where's my other forks? I think it needs another minute. I'm kind of afraid I might burn it. We're gonna watch. Anyway, back to the tofu. It's got teriyaki flavoring in it. Not much. You can see that it's a different color. You can see that it's compressed a little bit, so it's gonna be more solid, which I love. It's awesome. I'm just gonna slice it thin. And you know, when I took it out of the package, because it said it's ready to go, I tasted it first, because then you get a flavor profile and you know what you need to add or not add, or if you just wanna eat it. And this, again, this has some fat. Soy products have fat. Not oil, not added fat. It's just a fattier bean. So go easy with it. So I just cut it in thin slices like that. Okay, and I just took 1 block. That's my serving size. And now what else I had in the fridge, if you go on my channel, you're on my channel, but if you go searching, look for chili and cornbread, okay? This is the chili I made, and I have lots of leftovers because I always make enough for like the week. Just want to peek again at this. I don't even think it's going to come out whole at this point. Anyway, so I made this chili and it's got tomatoes and beans and corn and it just yumminess. It's so delicious. And I thought I want something to stick this together and have a lot of something. You know, I eat a lot of beans, so I wanted something more, I hate to use the word, but meaty, you know, substantial. I guess that's a better word for people who eat like this. So a lot of times when I make my pizza, I'll take something like this that I have left over with beans in it. Well, there's only a little left. I'm just going to use it. And I'll squish that down onto the pizza, and it gives it a real hearty texture to it. And you could squish this down if you'd rather have some of it like squished, some of the beans squished down, and that makes it easier to pack all in there too. But I'm just going to leave it however I can do it here. And then I'm going to put my tofu. Now let me show you how good it is. It's really, really good. I love it just the way it is. I'm going to put that in here. I don't know how much I need, but I'm going to use it all anyway. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect. I'll take this out. I don't want to burn it, and if it's not going to come out whole, whether it's going to come out whole or not, now's the time. So I'm going to see what happens. Here we go. Because remember, we're trying things here, just like we always do. I need a spatula. You know, I saw somebody do this, and it came out just like a crispy potato chip. And I was so excited about it. I don't know how she did that. Okay, well, it's almost all the way together, right? But I made a heck of a mess of this guy here. And my counter. And I want to use it again right now. So, yeah, okay. Let's just see what it tastes like. It's potatoes. It's going to be hot. I would put no sugar added ketchup. Feel free to make your own if you've got nothing but time. I'm not that person. Now let's see it, because I like the ketchup. There's a crunchiness. There's not a lot of flavor. You saw all the flavor I put in it, but for me, because I'm trying to give up the salt, I'm like, the no salt flavor. So that's a little difficult for me. Oh! No, never mind. I was thinking of something else. Don't worry about it. So anyway, that's not something I'm going to go to every day. You play with it. Tell me what you come up with. You know what? I'm going to do this. Don't watch. I would not normally do this, but I don't want to walk away into the sink. I'd rather just make a mess in front of you. I always have this old pastry brush to clean that out, to clean up my messes around it. So that's what I'm doing. There, it's cleaned out. See, it's easy to clean out even though there's no grease in there. So we're continuing with this right now. Can you see it? Oh, I had it over there. And what I'm going to do is I just bought some scallions. I don't know if I like them. I had them once, many moons ago, when I used to eat things like Peking duck, which I used to really, really love. It was deep fried and crispy, and they call it crispy duck in some places. So good, and they'd come tableside and make this amazing dish for you. So they had scallions on it instead of onions, because I love onions, but only when they're cooked. And I'm supposed to be eating more raw onions. So I thought, scallions are an onion, so I'm going to try that. And I'm going to cut them so tiny that I'm not even going to know they're there, because I don't know if I like them. I am just taking this whole head, batch, whatever, and just slicing down it a little bit. Tiny little pieces. They say, you know, especially if you have a stomach problem with onions, which I do with raw onions, to just take like a tiny bit like that and eat it, and the next day maybe have a little more and so on. But I'm going to put all this on there. I'm going to take a chance. It's going to add a lot of flavor, so that's what I'm going for, right? It sticks to you. Okay. Yeah, I don't like things sticky on me. So anyway, that's gone. Then I'm going to take some of my favorite seasoning, which you all know as prairie dust that I get from Longhorns, and I'm sure it's loaded with salt. So I'm going to go easy on it because it's got so much flavor, it's got to have salt. Just going to do a pinch of that to bring out some heat into my dish. It keeps falling through the fork. I'm not putting tons on. Okay. Boom. Little heat on there. You use what kind of heat you want. You can use some hot sauce or crushed red peppers if that's what you like. And now you've seen me use this on my pizza video. If you love pizza, go to that. And this is just a vegan cheese. So it's just plant-based. There's no dairy in it. This is something I very rarely have because it is made with oil. Again, trying to get rid of the oil. But I feel like this particular sandwich needs something to stick it together if I'm going to put it in there. So I'm sprinkling it. And I'm not really into the texture of the cheese anymore. But I'm going to sprinkle a little bit all over. Like you saw how little that was, did you? Looks like my camera's sliding. Did you get to see that? Okay, so this is what I got going on there. Kind of looks like a pizza, right? Okay. And I'm going to put the top on. Am I forgetting anything? You probably know. I'm pressing it down. There's already lots of spices from the chili in there anyway. All right, pressing it to get it all kind of to stick together. And there's stuff coming out. So I know I'm going to have a heck of a mess off this waffle maker. But here goes nothing. Let's see if I can get it even on there. Oh, Lord. Show me the way. I'm such not figuring this out. Someone's calling me on my phone, and I'm recording this on my phone. So husband saying, oh, here's my husband, saying, do you want to go to lunch? He does that. You know what? Let's see. I'll call him right back, I promise. I think I have too much stuff. Too much stuff, man. Okay, it's not gonna flip over. It has to flip over though, right? Does it have to flip over to work? No, God, this is making such, I hate a mess. I am making the biggest mess right now of my countertop. Let's see if I can stop some of that madness. I don't think it's gonna stick to the inside of the waffle iron, if that's any good thing to say right now, because there's nothing sticky on there. There's just my tortillas. Okay, it's definitely not gonna flip. Okay, while that's happening, I'm just gonna close this puppy up. Ugh. You know, I could have just taken my panini pan, which is just a pan that goes on the stove with grooves in it, and a very heavy metal top that I press down on it. That I could do this with. You could throw this in the oven if you want to. I just really wanted to see more uses for my waffle. My husband will be like, why did you put beans in my waffle? I could taste it. He has such a strong palate, it's not even funny. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be like, what's in here? All right, let me get another plate. I have no idea how long this will take. Yeah, it's 12:30. I guarantee you he's calling for lunch. Ooh, it's pretty. I just have to let it finish cooking. I wish I could flip it. Ugh. I don't know if that'll make a difference. I don't know. I'm gonna try to clean this up just a little bit. What's this too? That goes in. I was gonna say that's laundry. God, my mind is slipping. That's not laundry. That's dishes. I don't do laundry. Okay. Let's put this stuff back while we're waiting like 5 seconds. It's not going to take long. That's pretty much done. I don't know how I get all these things in here. I take them out and then I try to put them back in and they don't fit the same way. Kind of like groceries, right? They fit in your grocery cart till you get up to the line and then you're like, how did I fit these in here? Okay, I'm going to take it out. Are we ready? God, it's just dripping everywhere, making such a mess. Look at that. Can you see it? Oh my. Oh my. You know, I really should try these things before I let you watch. Okay, look how beautiful that came out. Thank you. See you next time. Oh yeah, it's not pretty. All right. You're not going to want to eat this one. Come on. Oh, rats. You know what? Do not send this in to Ellen. She will make me do this on her show. Oh, boy. Okay. What did we get? I don't know. We've got a mess. We got a real mess, and I don't know how I'm going to clean that up. But we're still going to taste it. Oh, can you even see? There we go. Okay, so this is what we got. I think it's inside out. Oh yeah. See, that's what it looks like. Yes, that's what it looks like. See? Waffle panini. Maybe if I left it on longer, it would have worked or been able to flip it. The crust part on the outside is hard to chew. It got a little tough. Let's see on the inside. And let me tell you, I put a lot of spice, I put a lot of heat in there. Wow. I forgot I had chili and then I added the hot spice on top of it. I forgot it was chili and not just my bean recipe. So it was already spicy. So here's the good news. You can make all these recipes. Just don't do them all in the waffle iron. Make this one in a panini pan, a frying pan, an oven. Just don't put any oil on it because it tastes really good. Burning my mouth off because of what I told you I did. And the potatoes, I mean, I guess you could have just do them just separate, you know, like shredded. Just keep them shredded, you know. I mean, you don't want to. That didn't really do anything for me. And but the tofu and everything inside of this is really, really delicious. And that waffle, which, hold on, one more bite. I love the tofu and the beans together. And this waffle, of course you're not going to eat all these at the same time like I am right now. And I'm not going to eat all these. They're going in the fridge for another day. My husband always tells me not to talk while I eat. Does he know what I do? I talk and I eat, right? Anyway, that is really, really delicious. And I want to try a whole bunch of different toppings now that I've given up the maple syrup. It opens up a whole new world for me, so that's good. I'm not just throwing maple syrup on it because that's what you do with a waffle. I'm going to come up with 100 new recipes for this. Different flavors inside the batter and what I'm going to put on top of it. I can see like an orange creamsicle waffle, you know, because you could, if I can use extracts, we'll find out. I don't think it's a problem. You could use some orange extract in there. I just used maple. They have a rum extract. There's a coconut extract. You know, go crazy. Or find other healthy things to put in it. Put fruit inside the batter. You don't have to put it on the outside if you don't want to. That was just so good. So, till next time. It wasn't a complete flop. Oh, whoops. It wasn't a complete flop, remember that. This is the test kitchen, where we try different things, and then you tell me, okay, that didn't work for me. Let's try this. Give me some ideas. I'll try it, okay? I'll see you next time. Love.